Ask the Mayor with Melanie Keebler, only on News Channel 21.
It's time for our monthly visit with Bend Mayor Melanie Keebler, where we ask her viewer-submitted questions. Mayor Keebler, thanks so much for being here this morning.
Thanks.
Great. All right, kicking things off here, a viewer who lives in the Old Mill District says they're all for growth, but asks how we're going to deal with traffic brought by large projects.
We get this question a lot because, as everyone knows, Bend is really growing rapidly. And for me, when I think about how we grow, I want to think about how we plan for the people who are going to be here as our first priority. But we also do need to think about, some people are still going to have cars, and how do we deal with traffic? What I'm really pleased to talk about in the Old Mill area is the developments we see coming in there are designed to be more urban and more walkable, so people can live there without a car. And when those developments come in, they also do improvements to the traffic intersections and roads around there, while being cognizant of avoiding cut-through traffic concerns that the neighborhoods have. So,
another viewer wonders if the water supply for the region is discussed with the urban growth planning and whether there will be enough potable water for decades to come.
Yes. So when we plan for our urban growth boundary and for our master comprehensive plan, water is definitely part of the conversation. We're actually required with our water utilities for them to demonstrate that they have the water to serve any new area that comes into the city. And it's important to remember for our river and our water basin, agricultural use is actually the biggest user of water. So about 90% is actually agricultural, and the city is about 2%. So even though we're that small sliver of our water use, we still do also have conservation programs and everything else to help people save water and make sure that we can continue to serve the city.
Sure. Okay. Next, we turn to the roads. First, a viewer asks, does Bend have a full-time traffic officer? And if not, why?
We do, actually. So all patrol officers are encouraged to do traffic enforcement, but we actually have 2 full-time traffic officers, 1 full-time traffic sergeant, and then 2 full-time DUI/distracted driving officers. So our department does have folks that are on this particularly.
Okay. And another viewer focuses on the pedestrian bike tunnels on Franklin Avenue and asks if anything is being done about safety, saying, this is my daily commute, and, quote, often there are individuals and garbage in the tunnels.
Yeah, so anyone who's done a bike commute through town and gone east to west through the Franklin tunnels knows just what this person's talking about. We have this historic bridge with these tight little tunnels, and this is part of our Midtown Crossings project that we just recently received some federal funding for the Hawthorne Overcrossing, and we've got city and state funding also lined up to work on Franklin, Greenwood, and the Hawthorne Overcrossing. And part of that project, though we won't be able to widen those historic bridge tunnels, is making sure that we're maintaining them and that we're cleaning up the approaches on both sides and helping to clean that all up and make it a great place to cross the city.
Our next entry comes from a viewer who writes, I met unhoused people on the bus, and the ones that I've spoke with are not from Central Oregon. I met a houseless resident from Oklahoma and another from Missouri. Can the city prioritize locals when giving out shelter beds?
So just like folks who live in houses, some of us have been here a long time and some of us are newer to the city. And so I've definitely met people who are unhoused in both of those categories. And our yearly counts show still that the majority of folks who are experiencing houselessness in Bend are people who have lived here for a while. And so we also run into problems if we start to try to categorize people who's a local. How long do you have to live here? I don't know. We've all probably lived here different amounts of times ourselves. So what we want to do is make sure we are providing services, especially for the most vulnerable. Notably, there was an article recently about how many children are experiencing homelessness in our region. And for me, I want to provide services. I don't want to gatekeep that and say, well, you have to have lived here a certain amount of time. We want to continue to help people and give them the services that they need.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's wrap it up with a question about the fireworks ban. A viewer wonders if the city should ask voters if they support the fireworks ban.
So we put in the fireworks ban a couple of summers ago now, and it really was stemmed by community input. There was a lot of community input when I first came onto council around our goals of having a fireworks ban, and then during the large heat wave that occurred during that summer, right around 4th of July, people were begging and saying, please, we really are concerned about fire. And that's the main impetus for the fireworks ban is we know people like to celebrate, but the fire risk is just too great. So it's been going well the past couple of years with reduction in calls and reduction in fires, and we want to see that continue. I just was able to go down to Sun River and see the drone show they put on, and so I'm thinking we might be moving in that direction in the future and just being really cognizant about our fire risk here in Central Oregon.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you, Mayor Keebler, for coming by today. She'll be back in studio the second Wednesday in August for another Ask the Mayor segment. And remember, you can submit your questions anytime at ktvz.com. We'll be right back.